So we've literally just finished our social here on Sunny 2 with the Bait Guru team. There's been 12 of us and it's been absolutely incredible, proper spring carnage with 23 carp caught between us. Have you enjoyed it?
Proper spring carve up. It's been really good fun.
And yeah, in this video I'm going to talk to you how I go about tackling spring. I'm going to split spring up into 3 parts and give you tactics for those 3 stages of spring. I've also had another one, so yeah, turned into a really good session. And we're also going to be running a giveaway in this one, so stay till the end of the video to find out how you can win the full range of the essential fruits. So yeah, let's slip this one back and hopefully you get some tips along the way. So we're in the first day of spring now, and the carp's priority is not feeding, it's actually warmth. One thing that anglers do struggle with is the amount of bait to put in at this time of year, and I would say the less is more in this approach. As I said, the carp's actual priority is warmth. Obviously after a tough winter, it is really difficult for them, you know, to survive. So as soon as that sun comes up, like it is today, you know, clear sky, there's 3 areas of the lake really that you've got to prioritize. So one is the upper layers, and that is the use of zig rigs. For this, you definitely want to use our booster liquid. The second one that I would recommend is when the carp are moving from that deep water, they're going to stay in overnight because obviously it's still cold and the actual water temperature is still going to be cold. At this time of year, you're averaging during the day 13 degrees if you're lucky, but at night it's going to be freezing cold, and with 12 hours split up of light and dark, if you halve those, the water temperature is not going to be over 10 degrees. So you want to fish singles. I fish a naked choddy. I love naked choddies this time of year, and I'm going to fish one on the deck, and the purpose of that, I'm going to try and get them moving from the deep water into the shallows, and that's going to be morning bites. Carp's eyesight still isn't perfect at this time of year, so a good fluoro in the right spot is definitely going to get you a bite. I do settle the naked chod rig a little bit unique. I do have a loop on the bottom. We do have a video for this, so feel free to check that out on our YouTube channel with regards to how I actually set it up. Yeah, and I absolutely love this rig in spring. As I said, you can put this over gravel, put it over silt, light weed. So basically I use this to for casting at shows. And lastly, do not neglect the shallow gravel. Shallow gravel this time of year is amazing. With the sun basically beaming onto that gravel, it acts like foil. So you know, when people are on holiday, obviously lying on the beach, some people put foil underneath them. It acts exactly the same way, and it's like a radiator to the carp. Well, what a fantastic little fish. Yeah, this one basically picked up while we were doing the B-roll for the naked chod rig. This one, once again, coming to a naked chod on our orange essential fruit pop-up. We've had 11 carp between us so far. So yeah, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you all the footage that I've managed to gather and some of the pictures. Yeah, what a cracking session. And then what we'll do, we'll then look at how I go about tackling mid-spring. Days.
This is the third fish. Started off with a 31 mirror, known as Callum's fish. Second fish was a mid-double about just before midnight last night, and just been round this morning to freshen the spots up, just down the margins, a few handfuls of salamino, and then just fishing little pink essential fruit pop-ups over the top. And literally 5 minutes after I freshened the spot up with some salamino, this one's rattled off.
19 on the nose.
So let's move on to the middle of spring. So when would I consider the middle of spring? So the middle of spring I would consider as the middle of April. So around about Easter time, and that's when I would start to having a look at introducing some bait. So the water temperatures, in theory, as long as you haven't had like a really cold spell, should be into double figures, and that's when I would start applying bait. Bait wise for me, I'm definitely going to be using the Salamino, and the reason for that is because it has garlic in it, and garlic within my spod mix features heavily at this time of year. The actual reason for that is because it does have anti-parasitic qualities. So basically they've been held up in the winter, they could have had eggs laid on them, or even on those rubbing spots, so eggs could have laid, and the last thing that they want is parasites getting on them. So I do obviously want to look after the carp as well, so I'm going to put quite a bit of garlic in it. Now the actual garlic I use is a horse feed one. Now just be aware of this one: if you are heat treating your boilies, don't put your garlic on first. The reason for that is because the compound is heat sensitive. So let your boilies cool down, or just put it in your actual spod mix cold. Now the actual spod mix that I use for this, I'm still going to be feeding bits. I'm not going to be feeding loads and loads of whole boilies, but the actual boilies that I use at this time of year, so I'm going to be using a lot of crumb. It's basically a winter mix, so a lot of crumb, hemp, and that's from Carbon Baits. I'm going to be putting corn in there as well, and also liquids are going to feature heavily. So the liquids that I'm going to use the Salamino liquid food. I want all of the liquid to be sinking to the bottom of the lake. The last thing that I want at this time of year is encouraging those carp to come up into the water column. So you want to be using heavy liquids so that they will draw them down and not up into the water column. So the actual spod mix, it's a real heavy one, but I absolutely love it at this time of year. I will also put quite a lot of Himalayan rock salt in there. Really nutritional for them, full of vitamins that they're probably lacking at this time of year as well. And just a perfect little mix, and also healthy for them. This is the fourth fish of the trip for me, and fish number 12 for the social now. Turned into a right cracking session. You can't beat early spring single trod rig fishing. I think it's time to move on to the final part of spring, which is just before sport. So let's have a look at how I do those tactics now. So in late spring, again, the carp's priority is not going to be feeding too much. They've already had that sort of mid-spring feeding spell. Their priority now is going to be spawning. So basically, when would I call late spring? It depends obviously on weather conditions, of course, doesn't it? But I would certainly say by mid-May, the approach that I would be using is straight boilies. I wouldn't be feeding them too much, and I'm actually going to start introducing my fish meal boilie that I'm going to be using in the summer, and that is going to be G-cray. So the actual rig approach for this, I would be more spot fishing because the weed growth is going to be up a little bit. And all I'm going to be doing is just catapulting or throwing stick a few G-cray, maybe mixed in with a couple of the other previous baits that I've used in mid-spring, so the jungle mix and the salamino. But yeah, mainly it's going to be G-cray, ready for the summer. Obviously, as I've already said, the carp's priority is not feeding at this time of year. It's going to be spawning, they're going to be pairing up for that. So you're just going to be setting little traps and hoping obviously to snare one before they spawn, and hopefully it's a big one. This is fish number 5 for me. Yeah, just a little tiddler. Well happy with this one. So what an incredible social. That's 22 carp in total now between all of the team. Yeah, absolutely incredible for early spring. Everyone's on the essential fruits. Some are putting out bait. Obviously me and Ashley are on singles. Yeah, this is my 6th session. Ashley's also had 5 as well. Yeah, amazing.
Well, that's the end of the session. Literally last knockings. Rods are in for the last 5 minutes and it's rattled off. What a fish to finish off.
So yeah, the session's been absolutely incredible. At the start of the video, me and Ashley said we'd had 23 fish between the teams. So this one is now the 24th, rattled off as we were packing up. At the start of the video, I did say we're running a competition. To enter, all you need to do is comment down below what's your favourite colour in the spring to use for a pop-up, and you also need to be a subscriber. As always, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to visit our website, which is www.baitguru.co.uk. See you on the banks of time.